All right. Welcome to another edition of Danny's Hot Takes. Today we're going to be reviewing the Adeptus Mechanicus rules for the Metallica supplement and the Warzone Charadon supplement.
Charadon.
Charadon?
Charadon.
Charadon.
No, Charadon.
Charadon.
We're low on memory.
Chafaradon. Okay, anyway. Yep, so let's just open this bad boy up. Now keep in mind this book has a bunch of different supplements in it for a bunch of different armies, so if you play Dark Eldar, if you play Mechanicus, if you play Knights, if you play Death Guard, check this book out. It's going to have some cool rules in it for you. And these are match play rules, so they are totally legal. So first we're going to talk about the Mechanicus Defense Cohort. So this is an Army of Renown. So an Army of Renown is the way you can build your list, and it has every unit in your army has to abide by the restrictions. But they do of the Army of Renown, but they do get some benefits too, which is pretty nice. So the Mechanicus Defense Cohort is a bunch of servitors and robots. So every unit from your army has to be Adeptus Mechanicus, and you cannot contain any Skitarii units, which is like pretty much the entire Mechanicus book. The units that aren't Skitarii are going to be Electro Priests, servitors, so that's going to be your Cataphrons and your normal servitor units, and then Castellan robots. Everything else in that book is Skitarii, so don't get too attached to that if you want to play this. Now, the benefits that you get for that is that you get the access to the Warlord trait, relics, and stratagems that are in this book, and you get the Extremist Sentinel protocols for the Cataphron Breachers, Cataphron Destroyers, Servitors, and Castellan robot units in your army, which is great. So, Extremist Sentinel protocols means you don't get any benefits of a Forge World Dogma. So you're Mars, but you're not Mars. So you don't get the benefit of being Mars, right? But you get the Extremist Sentinel keyword, which makes you, as long as you're wholly within your deployment zone or every model is within range of an objective marker, they're -1 damage. So all of these units, except for the actual servitors, are all multi-wound models. So this is a pretty big benefit initially right off the gate. And in addition, you always count as being in defensible terrain, more or less. So you can always set to defend or do hold steady. So you get a 5-up Overwatch or +1 to hit in melee, which is pretty nice. The Warlord trait is Cacophonous Leadership, which is an aura. All friendly defense cohort units within 6 have OBSEC. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That makes your robots OBSEC, which is pretty nice. Extremist Sentinel models in such units count as one additional model when determining who controls an objective marker. So it definitely makes them hard to peel off objectives. The relic is a relic Volkite Blaster for Adominus, which gives him a little bit better Volkite Blaster. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. Let's put it that way. Then you've got some stratagems. Stratagems are pretty cool. They've got we saw bolster defenses, and we also saw pre-calibrated purge solutions on the White Dwarf preview of Armies of Renown. So I won't be going over those, but we will be going over Citation of Ruin and Rad Bombardment. So Citation of Ruin is a 2 or 3 command point stratagem. Use this in your shooting phase when Extremist Sentinel unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, they have the Big Guns Never Tire rule as if they were vehicles, so that means they can shoot into combat. In addition, they ignore the -1 hit penalty for heavy weapons shooting into combat. If the unit has 4 or more models, it costs 3 command points. If it has less, then it costs 2. So this is pretty cool on robots because it effectively makes them be able to shoot into combat with their full ballistic skill, which is pretty gross. Citation of Ruin is super effective. I think it's a pretty nice little ability that you have, especially if you're building your army to contain stuff like these, like a lot of destroyers, a lot of robots, that kind of stuff. Rad Bombardment is another stratagem, a 3 command point stratagem. That's a beefy one, John. Yeah. Use the stratagem in your command phase. If a Mechanicus Defense Cohort Warlord from your army is on the battlefield, select 1 point. And place a marker on it. In your next command phase, roll a d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that objective marker, subtracting 1 if they're a character. On a 4 through 5, they take d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they suffer d3 mortal wounds, and until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from the toughness characteristics of each model in that unit. And that is cumulative with other things that reduce toughness. You can only use the stratagem once. That's not great. Like, 3 command points is a lot, and to have a 50-50 chance of actually doing mortal wounds and give your opponent a chance to move away is not necessarily the best option that you have. I would say it's kind of annoying for Space Marine players that want to do Monkey in the Middle, but it's only going to hit one thing, maybe. So, not great. The next part of this is a codex supplement for Forge World Metallica. So Forge World Metallica follow all the rules that you would find in both Engine War and in their codex. So Specialist Dogma, or their Dogma, their Specialist Canonical, all that stuff. This is just extra rules on top of that. So you have Master Annihilator, which is a warlord trait. You get to pick one radium. You get to pick one unit with radium weapons and give +1 strength to those radium weapons and +6 inches to the range of them. So this basically lets you take it's like a unit of Skitarii and make the radium weapons strength 4, which is pretty cool. Ash Runner is add 3 inches to the move characteristic and 1 to the strength and attacks of your warlord. That's pretty great, especially since Mechanicus warlords are pretty crappy in close combat. This definitely gives them a little bit more speed, especially with one of the relics in here that you have to be super close to use. Now, Metallica in general is going to be like a danger close kind of faction, so they're going to want to be close to you. Then you have Radioactive Emanation, which is an aura that you get. Basically, it gives your warlord a 6-inch aura of -1 toughness. That's great. They have 4 relics. You have the Omni Sterilizer, which is an Eradication Ray, which is Assault D3, Strength 6, -4 AP, 3 flat damage with Blast. It's not bad. You got Bionics of Veneration. This gives the bearer a 4 invul save, and while an enemy unit is within 3 inches of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. So that's going to be shooting, that's going to be combat. Anything, if they're within 3 inches of the bearer, they're going to be -1 to hit, which is great. The Delta Pistol, which is a Gamma Pistol, and this is the pistol that's carried by the little helper of the robots. I totally forgot what that guy is called. Yeah, anyway.
The tape deck dude.
Yeah, that guy. The Mixmaster. It's an 18-inch range, pistol 1, strength 10, -4, 4 flat damage, and you get to reroll to wound against vehicles. That's pretty good. I don't know, it's okay. Hopefully you don't miss. Now, the really money one in here is the Metallican Lung, which is not just an awesome thing you get at Metallica concerts. It basically gives an aura, the Metallican Lung aura. While an enemy unit is within 3 inches of the bearer, each time an attack is made by a model in a friendly Metallica unit that targets that enemy unit, you get to reroll 2 wound rolls. So this is huge. You can throw your warlord up in the middle of stuff. Keep in mind, there's a warlord trait for Metallica too that lets you fall back and still shoot with a -1, and that's a 6-inch aura of that. So it kind of like pushes the super close range, like punch you in the face style. But getting full rerolls to wound within 3 inches is something Mechanicus has never had before. It might make Metallica one of the better choices, or at least an interesting choice. It definitely puts your guy in harm's way though. So taking on somebody tough, like a Dominus, I would say that's probably your best choice. Then stratagems. Man, they get a bunch. They get 8 stratagems. So you've got Rad Oversaturation, which basically lets you take a Skitarii Vanguard unit and push out their Rad aura, where normally it's within an inch your -1 toughness. It makes you a 6-inch aura for that unit of -1 toughness. So like throwing a unit of Skitarii up there and making like a bunch of your opponent's units -1 toughness, so then you can blast them with the rest of your army. Pretty cool. Then you've got March to War, which is an auto 6-inch advance for 1 command point. That's pretty great. Nothing wrong with that. Then you've got Purity of the Machine. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase when a Metallica unit from your army is selected to shoot, or in the fight phase when they fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, you can ignore any modifiers to hit and to wound. If it's on a vehicle unit, it costs 2 command points. So that's pretty good against stuff like Harlequins, where they can give you a -to hit and a -to wound. So it just helps you to kind of overcome that. Then you've got Order and Anarchy, which is a 1 command point in your command phase. Select a Metallica unit from your army until the end of the turn. Each time an attack is made by a model in that unit, and it targets an enemy unit within 12 inches, you can add 1 to the hit roll. So 1 command point for +1 to hit. Always nice. Extinction Order, 3 command points. Gotta love these always. So basically, this lets you pick a terrain feature that has as long as your Warlord's live, pick a terrain feature that has an enemy unit wholly within it. Your entire army gets +1 to wound against that unit. That's kind of cool. That can be really useful if your opponent has like a Death Star. Like if your opponent's taking like 10 Deathwing Terminators or something like that, giving yourself +1 to wound against them is pretty cool. There's also a bunch of AdMech stuff that is a 6+ to wound, which does extra stuff, so that just helps with that stuff. Knight of the Iron Cog, it lets you take a House Raven Knight and give it the AdMech keyword, and so it's affected by your Canicles for the whole game for 1 command point.
That's really good.
That's really, really good. And House Raven is one of the best houses too, so I think that's really solid. Omniscience Exaltation. Use this in the morale phase when an enemy unit within 6 inches of a Metallica unit from your army is selected to take a morale test until the end of the phase. Subtract 1 from combat attrition test for them. Cool. I'm liking they're putting more and more of this like anti-combat attrition stuff in the game. And then finally, Blaring Glory. This thing is so good. John, you really like this one, I think.
Okay.
Use a stratagem in your fight phase or in your opponent's shooting phase. Select 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of a Metallica unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, your opponent cannot reroll any dice rolls made for attacks made by units in that enemy unit.
Oh, it's a baby glowing bloat.
Yeah, it's like a targeted gloaming bloat for 1 command point.
Yeah.
That's so good. So yeah, I think Metallica really kind of, you can see almost all these stratagems are short range, like they want to be up in your face, punching you out, or shooting you at really close range, like falling back, shooting. Have a Knight ally from House Raven, which is really good, which also get a supplement in this book. Yeah, I think Metallica is awesome. I'm very excited to see what people come up with for lists for Metallica. Oh. Mob rules? Yeah, okay. Hey, let's talk about mob rules too.
Do that.
Yeah, it turns out. The level of professionalism on this is indicative of the professionalism that you find on every other one of our publications.
Very high.
Yeah, super high. Not like me though. So, but if you like this, check out our other content on YouTube. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit your notifications so you get notified whenever we come out with new stuff. We have podcasts that release every couple weeks. Come join our Patreon if you want to. We have a great little community built up.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely check us out if you like this content. We do a lot of other content, and we'll see you later.